Yo, what's up, world? This is Erman. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today we have a Nando, my boy Nando, up in New York. Um, Today is September 30th. For everyone who knows, last night was the first debate with Biden and Trump. So I like to talk with people and see what they thought about it, get their feedback. Of course, Nando here is a fervent Trump supporter, Republican.
I am. Yeah.
But
Still am too after that debate.
hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk. That's why we're here. Let's talk about
Yeah.
it. So it wasn't perfect by any means necessary. It wasn't perfect at all. But
I'll be the first one to say it was absolutely what everyone else said it was. There definitely was moments that I was like, it is what it is. This is who I voted for. I am not shocked. I did not vote for a career politician. This is what I got. And I would say I was satisfied because at the end of the day, the opponent was still, scrabbling out.
yeah, for sure. For me personally, and we can break this down. We can
Absolutely.
break this down. But for me, and like everyone else said, same thing. Whatever everyone else said, it wasn't by any means to me a home run or TKO whatsoever. I do still give the edge just a little bit to Trump. I still give him because I feel like he still dominated the conversation, and Biden didn't leave people with any memory. Well, he did say so. He has some quips, but I think at the end of the day, people still don't know his platform in a way,
Yeah,
So
and that's what people should question at the end of the day. I mean, of course, people are going to go with the zingers, and that's why probably someone like Kamala Harris is going to probably stand out next week because she has more zingers than how Mike Pence is literally the definition of form and conservative when it comes to debating styles. But when it comes to this debate, at the end of the day, it was a shout fest. And, I will definitely give some blame to the moderator, that's for sure.
yeah.
And definitely put some blame on even the person I even cheer for, Trump, because he has to remember that he's now in a whole different ball game. This is not Trump 2016 anymore. This is Trump. I have 4 years under my 3 years and change under my belt. This is no longer Hillary Clinton I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to prove to the country that this guy literally doesn't know what he's doing. And he literally is how everyone else thought before Trump came into office that they rightfully deserve to be in office.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like part of me felt like Trump forgot that he should be appealing to those who are undecided, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people like us who pay attention, who watch the rallies, who pay attention to the stuff outside of these sound bites that CNN plays, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We know his platform. We see what he says, right? But for the regular viewer, for those who are undecided, they don't know the rallies. They just
Absolutely.
this is it. This is what they got, right? And if
If
this is what
someone,
they got,
mm-hmm.
there's not, if that he didn't change any minds. He didn't change any minds. That's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, there was some moments that you could totally tell he misspoke. I don't want to be like I'm defending him through and through. No,
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
not.
Mm-hmm.
I will definitely say he effed up. He definitely effed up when it came to some sort of question. Probably because the way Chris Wallace portrayed that question. It was a question that, I wasn't even expecting. Chris Wallace, who is actually, he's very, when it comes to the media, when it comes to journalism, he's probably the most well-respected. But that definitely changed when it came to yesterday's debate because you're like, why is he answering these? Why is he making Trump answer these questions when everyone who is an informed voter will know this? But again, it's they're playing on with the rhetoric. Of course, I'm talking about when it came to denouncing white supremacy. Of course, Trump should have just went out of the bat and said, I don't want to deal with them. I totally condemn them. Blah 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 blah. But he came out as sure, and then if. And personally, I'm saying this as a guy that voted for him and a guy that, is following him. And I'm pretty sure any other of his base absolutely knew, like, why they're asking him again? Why? We all know this. And then the way he answered the whole Proud Boys situation, which, look, guys, if anyone could do their research, just do a decent research about the Proud Boys. I would never associate them with white supremacy. Will I associate them with other terminology that could come as hateful? Absolutely, but that's a whole different discussion. At the end of the day, the head of Proud Boys currently is like Afro-Latino, so I would not consider him white supremacist at all. But of course, the way Trump addressed it, he definitely effed up. I'll definitely say it off the bat. But again, he's not. It was really not. At the end of the day, I would say he definitely didn't lose anyone on his base. Anyone who's independent or like who's at that moment, it's like, God, this Biden guy just doesn't make sense. I'm not gonna lie. I was doing better under the Trump era. Like my stock portfolio was up, my 401k was up. The guy is really an a-hole, but he's getting the stuff done. And I'm really liking the fact that for once in my lifetime, I'm not dealing with a new war. So when it came to those audience, that's where I was like, he really could have done better for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like I said earlier, people like us, we pay attention. We've seen the clips before we denounced it openly on television.
Oh, absolutely.
But of course, the media doesn't really.
He's been doing this. I'm sorry to jump off, but
yeah, for sure.
He's been doing this since 2000. He ran as an exploratory committee. He really never officially run, but it was an exploratory committee under the Reform Party. And he literally jumped out of the Reform Party because David Duke was joining in. And he was like, nah, I'm good, bro. I'm not messing with that dude. Like, he's literally known for this. He's literally known for the denouncing white supremacy, period, throughout his whole public appearance.
What I was getting at, and I learned something from you just now. That's so good.
Okay.
But like we've seen the clips where he's denounced it, right? But the common viewer doesn't see it. So that was his opportunity to be like, here's what I said. Because Biden's premise, the reason why he says he's running in the first place, because of the Charlottesville quote, right? But that premise is flawed because we know what Trump actually said.
Absolutely.
Trump had the opportunity.
Like 5 minutes to themselves, can literally watch the whole thing. It's literally not the way that the media portrays it. But however, we live in a generation now that 30 seconds is key. If it's not 30 seconds, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to fall asleep.
But with that being said, just like you said earlier, that was his opportunity. Trump could have defended himself in a way that was a home run for him. It was right there. It was handed to him, but he didn't take it.
If I was him, I would have been like, absolutely, I would definitely denounce him. How about you, Joe Biden? How about you denounce Antifa? How about you denounce all these people that claim to be Black Lives Matter, yet are destroying the communities, are destroying businesses? It's going into communities and storing their own property just for their greater good vision. And to be honest, Joe Biden still messed up because he said it was an idea, but Trump could have addressed it in a way that could have been a zinger. It could have put a nail in his potential coffin.
For sure. And he could even brought up his own record. Trump could have been like, here's what I did for unemployment for the Black community. Here's the literally 5 days ago. He brought up the platinum plan. He could have said it right there because the platinum plan includes denouncing the KKK. Exactly. It was handed to him. Unfortunately, he didn't take it. But also, like you said, Chris Wallace kind of baited him in a way.
It was baited in a way that I wasn't expecting Chris Wallace to do. And I'm just saying this because of his career, his journalistic career. I wasn't thinking he would plan to hit a zinger or go for that hit jab, because he basically did, which I think more with Trump. And I've been talking this with a lot of people, both sides, that are saying, yeah, I do see that Chris Wallace was really going at it with Trump compared to Biden, because Biden, there was moments that, he got away with a lot of things that, anyone who actually reads a newspaper and watches, decent news, not every news, could say, no, there's been a lot of reporters talking about how his son did get millions of dollars off a foreign country. There is yes, he was released out of the army because of his cocaine addiction. Yeah. Which later on, within a split second, Biden did own up, but you know what I mean. No, it's the moderator that didn't follow through. Exactly.
Yeah. But in the same way, with the Proud Boys comment, I just want to say one more thing before we move on. But with the Proud Boys comment, he fell into the trap that he usually gets into, giving media sound bites.
Definitely did.
Everything you see afterwards, you hop on Twitter today, everything you see, of course, with the left, verbiage is important. They know how to. They know what they're saying.
They know how to do the emotional marketing.
Exactly. So on Twitter, it will say all the headlines will say, Trump. When Trump is asked to denounce white supremacy, he tells white supremacists to stand back and stand by. However, that's word placement, right?
Of course.
Because that's assuming that Proud Boys are white supremacists, and that is objective. People can
And
argue
if
about
there's
that.
one thing I can say, I tell this to all my friends: the left, man, they're like the supreme Kai when it comes to assumptions. They love assuming stuff and not really giving the core details. But please continue.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, yeah, they know how to capture you emotionally. I think that's why you saw Biden looking at the camera every now and then saying, "America, this is about you." But then I think that hurt him too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because people are like, "You've been looking at my face for 47 years."
Where were you?
Yeah.
Where were you? You made all these comments. Look, Trump made comments that, are not more friendly when it comes to individuals that doesn't know him. But he didn't follow through with laws that actually damage those same people. Biden has done that. He made comments that are ridiculous, completely racist. And guess what? He followed through with policies that were completely racist and outrageous and destroyed communities and destroyed foreign countries.
Absolutely. Because you mentioned no wars, whereas Biden has been influential in, I think, the Iraq War, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
He was literally one of the masterminds behind it. He was a mastermind of the whole Iran deal where we paid Iran billions of dollars. The Paris Accord was one of his babies as well. I mean, that's how he was involved, and that's how, of course, Joe Biden's son got the position that he got of getting millions.
Exactly. And so, but here's the reason why I still feel like, even though Trump didn't deliver, I think he still won it by a small margin. At the end of the day, when you look this up on Twitter, and when you look up everybody's headlines, it's about what Trump did and what Trump didn't do.
Exactly.
But no one really remembers anything that Biden said. And I think that's his downfall.
And look, again, I will say this again. No one can beat Trump. The only person that can beat Trump is Trump. I would say this, that the reason why I will give Trump, and I'm sorry, I'm coughing.
No worries, dude.
The reason why I give Trump the upper hand is, at the end of the day, he got under Biden's skin.
He got flustered. He got flustered.
And if there's one thing, and this is a pattern that I hope everyone has been realizing this with Trump, he knows how to get into people's skin. He knows how to get under his skin. That's how he defeated every single person that went up against him. From, of course, I'm talking about Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, little Marco, Hillary Clinton, and now we're seeing that with Joe Biden. I mean, Pocahontas, that's another one. They all fell in the Trump trap. And look at Biden right now. Yesterday, he was literally insulting Trump.
Yeah.
To the point you're like, come on, man, this is not Joe Biden.
Yeah. You saw him snapping. Like, you're like, whoa. But tell me this, because obviously you represent two voter blocks.
Of course.
Right? The black vote and the Latino vote. So we saw a poll today where Telemundo viewers took a poll, and 66% of them said Trump won that debate. So a lot of people from the outside looking in may be like, what? But
yeah, a lot of people are like, wow, that is crazy. And of course, that's not going to, I won't say it's going to reflect the election, because if it does, that's an automatic landslide. But that is still a concern if I was the opposite party, because that means he is gaining attraction. At the end of the day, Trump doesn't need 66% of Latino votes. All he really needs is 15 and higher.
Yeah.
And that's what core data. Same thing go with the black vote. I mean, he got 8%. I'm pretty sure anyone looking outside and just not even looking through data can see that Trump definitely has a possibility of hitting double digits when it comes to the black vote, and possibly hitting more than 12%, which was my original prediction before the election cycle really started.
Yeah. So, question for you. Yeah. Where do you feel they both, I'll ask you from both sides, for the next debate, should they have one? I think they already said they were going to have one, right?
Oh, I mean, however, there's now articles saying how the debate commissions think about changing up the rules.
Exactly,
which looks bad on Biden, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because again, you're like, why are you changing the rules? I mean, Trump can clearly handle himself. He can clearly handle himself, but why are we changing the rule? Is it because of the Biden campaign? Which Politico dropped the article actually saying it was a Biden campaign.
Oh, yeah, I saw that too. So for both of them, where do you think they both should take it next for the second debate for them to get the upper hand?
So I will start with Biden.
Okay.
When it comes to Biden, he in order to start hitting Trump, all he really has to do is you could just say, look at the good old times, which really you can't really say that much when it comes to the good old times. But all he really has in his pocket, honestly, is the COVID situation. But at the same time, any individual independent thinker will say, well, this never happened throughout presidential history. I mean, there was a plague, but that was in 1909. And, we really didn't know back then. And clearly we didn't know how to handle the situation, especially coming from a foreign country.
Yeah.
He could also mention, literally the COVID thing is literally the best thing that happened for the Democratic Party. Because before that, everything was in favor for Trump. And again, I'm saying this again, the only person that could defeat Trump is Trump. So if it's giving advice to Trump, I would say let go of the 2016 Trump. That's dead and gone. Focus on this Trump that dominates not only the media, but dominates within the people, that people literally understand. The outreach within Donald Trump in the first 3 years has been truly phenomenal. The specters of the Black community, the Latino community, the overall community, the inner city communities. I mean, I'm having talks with people, and I'm starting to believe that the silent majority is real, because I'm having friends and other friends like, you know what, I can't say I like Trump, but damn it, I'm going to vote for him because, the way Antifa's handling in this situation and the way he handled Antifa with states that actually gave him the hand of said, hey, we need help on the federal level, they got it eliminated right away. And no one talks about that because they're more focused on this white supremacy rhetoric. But at the end of the day, which group had 100 days worth of rioting?
Exactly. Because even weeks back, I know we're jumping around here, but
yeah.
Weeks back, even Don Lemon got on CNN and said, hey, guys, I'm kind of worried for the Democrats right now because this is getting out of hand,
Yeah.
And that was when Biden finally stepped up and said, hey, the violence is bad. But then people are looking at him like, where were you the first 100 days?
Exactly.
These are his voters. These aren't Trump voters that are doing this, So for him, it was his mistake. It was Biden's mistake to say that the Antifa is just an idea. Because you can literally look up groups in cities calling themselves Antifa. And
exactly.
And imagine
the Democratic nominee and didn't reach out to these cities saying, guys, we need to stop this. It's not looking good for us.
And imagine the people who lost business saying, well, an idea burned down my store. An idea looted my store.
An idea ruined my generation family business that we worked thrive for them. The same business that I built up with only $10 in my pocket, but I believed in an American dream. It was just an idea that ruined it all.
Yeah. So I think, going back to the original question, was for Biden, I think personally, the right and Trump is always going to nail him about 47 years. He should have a comeback. He needs to be prepared and say, okay, well, here's what I did do. If he can say anything. Because I mean, I can't tell you, but he should.
Well, it all depends. If we're talking about, that's the thing. If he does mention something, Trump actually has the data to back it up to attack him. The thing is, will Trump do it, or will Trump just continue on and just attacking? Because at the end of the day, the attacking is literally the best portion of him, but it won't get across. Like he will not lose his base. Like the base will not turn for him. It's just gaining the extra votes. That's what his key should be. And by him getting more independence, more, people, silent majority people who are still in the fence, talk about what you did in those last 3 years. Talk about how unemployment was an all-time low, how people were getting money in their pockets. The simple fact that there were businesses that weren't forced by their local government to raise the minimum wage, that they literally made so much profit that they gave bonuses to their employees without government interfering.
Yeah.
He needs to talk about those issues because it's a fact.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have friends who their 401k skyrocket, whose stock portfolio skyrocket. They're more focused on stock. They're more focused on financial freedom under this president than any other president. Absolutely. So he needs to stick by with that message and look at those independent and look at those, shifty people in the eye and be like, look, if you thought you were doing great now, the best is yet to come. If you vote for me for the second term.
Exactly. And speaking of which, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
and I actually wrote this in my stories earlier today. We are 30 plus days away,
Mm-hmm.
and we heard it last night. Biden's like, nah, he's like, nah, I don't like the Green New Deal. The last
I mean,
100
it's still on
days,
his website, but
yeah, but the last 100 days, it wasn't that what you're like. People are not confused. Like, what do you actually stand for? It's like, what do you actually stand for? So ask a regular Joe, hey, what's Joe's platform? They don't know,
Mhm.
right? So I'm sure on his end, people are scrambling like, yo, what did you say? Like, did you just his buddies Bernie and AOC? Like, what are they gonna say to him?
Exactly. I'm pretty sure. Well, a lot of leftists had literally said. I mean, I love the catchphrase that he keeps saying, "Come on, man," but they were literally saying, "Come on, man."
Absolutely.
Look, at the end of the day, the fact that there's now reports coming out with Biden that wants to change up the tempo, he was squirming on his words. It's true. Trump was attacking, but he was attacking in the wrong ways. But Biden was shook. I mean, there was a point. There's a reason why Chris Wallace did the things he did.
Actually, there's the point where I thought Biden was gonna either snap, cry, or walk away. Like there were some parts I was like, this. He looks like he's miserable. He looks
The
miserable
fact
there.
that he kept on insulting Trump, and the fact that Trump didn't insult him that much, but don't get me wrong, like never use the word smart with me was genius. Like it's genius. But the fact that he got under Biden's skin and made him say, called him a clown, told him to shut up, I just think it's just Trump seasoning
Absolutely.
on Biden. Because it's
Absolutely.
going to continue in the next two debates. That's a fact.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So can
So
he get ready for that? Because at the end of the day, it clearly didn't work with Hillary, and it clearly didn't work in the other Republican candidates that went up against him.
right. Right. Now moving ahead, do you feel it is a do you feel Biden in order to get those moderates, do you feel like he should say or should address his past sins? Like, okay, hey guys, the crime bill, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Or hey guys, Antifa, what I said about Antifa, I shouldn't have done that. Do you think do you think it would help him or hurt him if he was to confront these?
Personally, I feel like it's set in stone because he could have just said that off the bat in the first debate. But I could be wrong. I mean, we could have a phenomenal vice president debate that people are just gonna have their eyes more on Harris, and they might just say, "Look, I'm just voting for Harris." At the end of the day, it's not really Biden. But I highly doubt that because if there's one person that can annihilate a VP person without even being on the same debate stage, it's Trump. So again, I mean, right now, do I see a clear path for Trump? No, I'm kind of questioning it because the way these voter fraud is legit now. It's legit. There's been massive reports. I mean, there's ballots literally
I know
thrown out.
people who've actually lost their primaries because of it.
Exactly. There's one right here nearby me that till this day we still don't know who won that primary because of the mail-in ballots. So we might have a situation that might be greater than what happened in 2000. I
Yeah.
mean, it's already looking like that. And so if I was a Senate committee, if I was Trump, I would definitely make a move in putting ACB into the Supreme Court. That way, there is a balanced judicial system when it does hit the fan, when shit does hit the fan, because it's gonna get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My man, Nando. Always good to see you, man. I
Always.
look forward to more chats with you and break things down. Maybe we can talk about, maybe we can revisit this when Harris and Pence go one on
Oh,
one.
absolutely, we'll do it.
Yeah,
Not a
yeah,
problem.
yeah. Before we go, maybe just a final takeaway about last night. Obviously, your boy still Trump.
Oh,
But
oh,
what's something that you want listeners right now to take away from it? I guess for your side,
yeah.
maybe something to convince them to still have faith in your candidate.
Look what look. The guy, he's a guy. He has his words, and personally, I really don't go by words. I really judge a person's character by their actions, and his actions for the American people has been genuine. It's been really full focus on making us better, making our communities better, and it's shown throughout all spectrums. do you really like the way our local government has been treating when it comes to these emergency situations? Will you allow them to continue? Because if you feel like if you vote for Joe Biden once he's in, it's going to go back to normal, I don't think so.
Like a magic wand. All of a sudden, COVID's gone.
Yeah, COVID's going to – it makes you question, though, was it really a conspiracy?
Ooh. That's for another conversation.
Yeah, but, that's a whole different conversation. I'll call Alex Jones on that one.
Oh my gosh.
But seriously, look what has been happening on the local level. And these are all Democrat leadership. Do you want to continue this? It's not going to go back to normal with Joe Biden. We're beyond in the topic of normal to anything. We have to continue on with the American lifestyle. And if people are just going to continue to get hurt by words and not acknowledge the success, then that's where we need to question ourselves as a country.
There you go. Words. That's my biggest takeaway. Hey guys, stop watching CNN. Stop taking their word for as law.
Just go down the block. Go to your local library. You'll be surprised how much you learn.
Because as we both know, media is about the narrative, not about the news.
That's a fact.
Or at least it's not about the facts. At least it's about telling a story. So, my man Nando, always good to see you, buddy. I look forward to our future chats, man.
No, absolutely, and I'm looking forward to providing those chats.